Hey y'all, welcome back to another video from Debate Boutique. Today we are going to be responding to the question of what does a session at Debate Boutique look like, and going through some of our protocol and organization just so that y'all have an idea of what you're coming into if you participate in Debate Boutique Academy, which is our year-round coaching service. That we're going to be adding some more nuance to for the upcoming school year that we're super excited for, as well as our summer program. We believe in individualized debate curriculum per student and not a one-size-fits-all method. Our session sizes are small. They're tailored based off of the diagnostic. What you want coming in is the exact way that we produce a curriculum plan for it, and to make sure that we are engaging you at the best way possible. And so our session design is geared towards meeting that goal. So we're going to get into it, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to show a short snippet of what a session looked like in preparation for the TOC. We might do a few of these videos throughout the longevity of Debate Boutique, just so that y'all can get an idea of what they are. So let's just kind of go down the list. Is that a session at Debate Boutique is 1 hour long, 16 minutes. And in that hour, it is recorded. We do this for both compliance purposes, so security and privacy, for parents, if we're working with minors, as well as for teaching purposes. So a lot of times the student will, yes, learn during the session, but sometimes they need to go back and kind of pick up the gems that were dropped and the conversations that were had that they weren't able to grasp in the kind of live time feedback of the session. And so having the recording is a resource, a tool for the students, as well as a compliant end for us to make sure, so that I can make sure that no inappropriate behavior and conduct is happening, and that students have that as an advocating tool if something were to take place, and have that as a means to call us out if that were to be something that occurred. But we are very, very, very passionate about making sure that students are in safe spaces for debate. Next is more so the organization. So the organization of a session, and we itemize this based off of a session document that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, is 15 minutes for questions. Now, the questions are either from previous sessions or private work that the student has done, and wants to make sure that those questions are targeted and either A, guide the session that they are about to have with one of our consultants, or are just miscellaneous questions that have been burning in their mind that they really want an on-point response to. The last 45 minutes of the session are skills that the consultant would have put together prior to the meeting, that the student would know and be prepared to be engaging in. And a lot of this is going to be described a bit more in depth when I get to the session document, but that 45 minutes is to make sure that we're not just talking to each other just kind of through a Q&A structure, but more so making sure that we're activating that content into something usable for the student. And that is the session writ large. We are Debate Boutique and we do it like no one else. There are more parts to our process. And so every student who is registered or part of Debate Boutique, we operate off in Discord. It's a private research channel. No information that is exchanged between consultants and students is shared with any other student. And because we are an organization, we keep to that standard, because there really, to be honest, is not a lot of guarantee and privacy of information from working with a singular coach. They can, very easily share that with anyone else. But because we are an organization and we are, have a lot more visibility than just a singular coach, we take it very, very seriously to make sure that We do not share information, cards, blocks that students have. And, I think our students that we currently work with can speak to that. The next is that in that research channel, it's 24/7. So any questions that students want to type out and send to the consultants, which it would be to all the consultants, any consultant who feels as though they, have something to say about the question that the student is asking, can respond to. Students can drop files in and ask about particular wordings of blocks, or they can submit speech redos or notify a consultant that they have submitted a redo onto the drive, which is another element of Debate Boutique, where every student has a student report file. And in that, every meeting that is recorded is posted, every student development report is posted, and if they want to submit speech redos, practice speeches, or submit activity drills that were prescribed during a session, they would upload them there, and then the consultants would review that and be notified from the Discord channel. Another element of the Discord is our alumni chat, and all the students who are part of the alumni chat knows it goes down in the alumni chat because it's a very supportive community. We are providing and cultivating a countercultural community in debate that is based off of voice, advocacy, engagement, confidence building. It's not about just how many bids or ballots that you receive, but it's about the process of learning and getting good at debate. And the Discord channel for that has been just amazing. The students offer a lot of their time to help do drills with each other, or they will offer themselves to do practice debates, or if they know an article that a student is looking for, before one of the consultants sees it, they will send. They're always saying like, happy Friday, good day, y'all got this. And when people are competing at tournaments, there's a lot of high energy and supporting whoever is competing. So that's another aspect that students would receive when they are doing Debate Boutique sessions, is the community. Lastly, and I've been mentioning it subliminally a few times now, is the student report document. This is one of our newer advents, just because we have delved deep into students learn differently. And in order to ensure that we are meeting the different types of learning, we needed to change up the different types of ways in which we record and teach. And so the student development report is an interactive written doc that allows for students to have a bit more preparation for their session. So I'll explain it now. Like I said above, the first 15 minutes of a debate boutique session is meant for questions, comments, and concerns that a debater has that can come from prior sessions, or just research that they're doing, or just really anything about debate. All of those are listed, and a consultant would at least have it 24 hours before, because every student is required to submit a student report doc with the consultant that they have booked with at least 24 hours. We really like 48, but at least 24 hours prior to their session, so that the consultant can look and think through some of those thoughtful questions that a student has put together to allow for, depth. Then after that document is submitted, and there has been some Discord conversation about what the student would like to work on. That could be block writing, that could be a bit more kind of lecture-based, right, on a particular type of argument or content, that whatever the goal is that the student has for that session, prepping for a particular debate round, the consultant will write in the 45-minute portion of the document, what are the goals, what are the activities, what are the things that were done. This allows for the student to see what they can expect to happen during a session, allows for the parents to see, allows for the organizations and universities that we work with to see exactly what is happening and what are the expectations, what goals are met, what goals are not, and also allows for the consultant that works next with the student to see what the student has been doing, what the student has been working on. The last part of the document is a recommendations and review. I think this is a very important part of the document because it allows for the, it's like an RFD. Think of it like an RFD after a debate. It allows for the consultant to provide feedback on how the session went, what are some areas for improvement, what are some resources that the student can be using. And so it puts together one full narrative of the session, from the questions to the activity to the interactions on the Discord channel, and then making a prescription for follow-up sessions or things for the student to consider, so that even if a student were to leave us, you know, after only working with us for a session, 2, 4 sessions or beyond, they have very tangible things that they can take away, that they can instill into their debate career. So that is what a session at Debate Boutique looks like. And I'm super glad that I got on the camera to describe some of that, because I think it's important for folks to know what is it that we do and why we do it so well. And it's because we put a lot of energy and time into the organization and development of programming and teaching students that we think is the very, very important key in cultivating debate experience. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share this for any folks who are looking for a debate home, either for the summer or during the school year. We cross the ideological spectrum. We cross different debate styles, LD and policy. We work with high schools and colleges. We do inside of debate things and outside of debate things. We build curriculum. You're like, hey, I need a 5-week plan. I need a 3-week plan. I need something to teach this concept. Give us the raw material and we will produce a system for you. So thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Hello.
Let me fix this background real quick. Sorry about that.
You're fine. I'm pulling up your stuff as well. Oh, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. Just went out to go get food and came back, so that was nice.
That's nice. It's always good to get food. Yeah, I'm definitely
like...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you know, being stuck in the house, it was nice to go out, get food, and then come back home and eat it.
Yeah, so did you have several meetings today then?
Yeah, so I think we have this call, and then from let me just check. From at 5:15, I have my call with Sai.
Okay. Okay, well, at least they're not like overlapping too much, or you still, I mean, they like go one into the other, but not overlapping.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I was like so all over the place today. So I did not review where you were at with where you were at on your last block writing session. So would you be cool giving me like a quick update as to where you are?
Yeah. So we just sort of updated cap blocks last time and talked through a little bit more of the ballot presumption framing arguments. I think the cap blocks are fine. I think it's just knowing how much time I want to get to the cap flow with, depending on the 1 and C. Because sometimes it'll be 1:15, sometimes it'll be 50 seconds, just because it's like LD times and you have to make sure that you get there with just enough to put necessary offense.
Yeah.
So I think with Kane, we made like a short 1 AR to cap and then a long 1 AR to cap. And I think I sent that in the Discord, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. But you said you feel, based on the cap, you feel pretty comfortable with where you and Kane had left off on that?
Yeah, I think I just need to. I think as long as I can get to the cap K flow with like about 50 seconds left, and I get through framework in about 1:45, I should have enough time to get through case with about 20 seconds left over for line by line on the case flow.
Okay. So then, since you feel pretty comfortable with that part, like based on what you and Kane had, well, first, are there any questions that I can help you with? And then also, what would you be interested in tackling today?
So today I want to either go more in depth on like debating anti-blackness or settler colonialism, and questions wise from last meeting, I don't really have many. I just think now it's just a question of being able to like we've come up with like a plethora of arguments and ways to frame it. I just think it's like making those into blocks and like and making them efficient is the next step from here.
Okay. The cap argument specifically into blocks?
No, I think the cap arguments are fine. For block stuff, I have to do the psycho stuff later tonight. And just like, I have like a note file compiled of like all arguments to be made. I just have to compile that into like block form.
Okay. So then specifically just like anti-blackness and set call. And then you feel good too with like where your framework is at.
Yeah, I feel pretty solid on framework. I think the framework debate is like, or at least in my mind, is relatively straightforward. That there are two big 2AR options. One is like counterinter plus risk of an offense, and like we solve predictability plus fairness. And I think you go for that plus the subject formation stuff. Or the second option is more of like debate is a war game and a terrible site for scenario analysis and planning. Any form of clash in like on over the context of laws is bad, and just generate that as an impact turn to the reading of framework. And I think those are the two 2AR options against framework teams. And I think the blocks on like fairness and stuff are relatively fine. It's just a question of like line by line and time allocation.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess another question I have is like, how do you feel as well about your overviews? I know we kind of talked a little bit how your overview is structured right now to have framework answers in it. If a team doesn't read framework, do you think it like, do you have possibly an alternative overview, or do you feel comfortable writing one?
I would have to think through how to unpack the app a little bit more in the context of where framework is not being read. But I don't want to change it too much because I think the strategic value of this app is that against K teams, you can make an argument about why your refusal of the resolution is in line with the alternative project. So then it's like the link differential between the affirmative and the alternative, and it begs the question about what type of affirmatives would be read if you are refusing the app, right? Would it allow for debates over laws? If that is the case, then the entirety of the case is an impact turn to the form of debate the alternative would promote.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think like having that same framework or that same overview that you already have, and then like literally copying, pasting like framework or like overview if framework isn't read, and then just taking out like the framework specific terminology, but having the same argument there would be perfect for it. For that argument that you were saying.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so just really working today, you just want to work on like the anti-blackness and set call stuff, or?
Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at right now, because I think the two biggest critiques that are going to happen with this affirmative are probably Cap K and psychoanalysis, and those two things I feel relatively comfortable about. And no one's going to read like some other sort of critique if it's not just like hedge good or whatever. The only thing that they might read is like pessimism or settler colonialism as their generic, Baudrillard 1 and C's. Because like when I was doing a little bit of scouting last night, like I looked at the top 10 teams in the pool, and all of them have had at least a 1 and C shell for settler colonialism or pessimism against Baudrillard.
Okay, awesome. That being said, then do we have like any of those shells, or do you know where I could access it? Because that might help us with like writing out blocks for it, especially since I'm more used to the policy. I kind of like used to really long link debates. So
let me find it.
Take your time.
I'm just dragging it from downloads now. Yeah, that should be the right one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
This is like not from this like topic. It's from like I think it was the voting. It was the compulsory voting topic. But the sort of link arguments that the link arguments they'd go for would be relatively the same.
Yep. Yeah. And it just helps with like we'll be able to figure out like, oh, they probably would make this link instead, but
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just have to quick forward it to my debate email because I ended up pulling you up on my phone this time because it made it a little bit easier to have everything opened at once.
No, that makes sense.
Okay. And then do you have like any shells already outlined for these, or are we like, which is totally fine if we're working from scratch, just so I don't accidentally overstep where you're at.
It's going to be mostly from scratch. I'm just like haven't thought enough of the interactions between this debate, and I just think like thinking through the important differences and the important similarities in the ways that we should frame permutation arguments would be helpful.
Okay.
And also, like, I think less so worried about the permutation arguments. While that is certainly an area that I do want to focus on, I think a bigger part of it is sort of the link arguments and theory of power stuff.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm just trying to get this to pull up. It like did not go through correctly.